Hey, what's up? So you can watch a lot of videos, you can read a lot of books on how to quit porn, but essentially what they all will direct your attention is towards 3 essential skills. And let me save you a lot of time and struggle and give it to you in this very video. Hi, my name is Marius. I am a med student, a suicide hotline volunteer. I'm also a Christian man who was addicted to porn for 10 years, but was able to quit. I also at the moment help over 100 people in my free community called Addicted to Virtuous. Alright, so let's dive right into it. So I want to illustrate my first point with a story. So it's summer 2024. Right now, I'm recording this video, it's December of 2024. So 4 months ago or so, I buzzed my head, right? And that marked the beginning of my new era. You see, in summer, I was still kind of addicted to porn. I was a casual user. I wasn't down bad addicted, but I still couldn't go more than 4 to 7 days from porn. Now, when I buzzed my head, it wasn't that just my appearance became different. For me, it symbolized a whole nother thing. And in today's video's context, it symbolizes letting go of your past self, right? You don't have to buzz your hair down, right? I had my hair up to my shoulders. You don't have to change your appearance whatsoever. But what you need to do and what you need to look out in your life is things that are holding you back that you are not willing to give up. Those things can manifest themselves in all sorts of different areas of your life. A very extreme example that I've seen where people that I found on forums such as NoFap on Reddit, some people are questioning whether or not they should delete the porn videos, a golden collection they gathered throughout the years. But for some people, they have developed emotional attachment to these videos. And so it's very hard for them to let them go. And the reason for that is because some of those things made up a lot of our lives. For example, for me, I had this one video game called League of Legends. And I would jerk off to female characters of that video game from time to time. And it took me a long time to finally say that I have to let this go. I know it sucks. I know that I'm creating a void in my life because I used to play for hours and hours every single day. And I'll have to somehow fill that void. But that's okay because it's better than to continue struggle with porn. And I know that video games keep triggering me and I have to let them go. And at least for me, it's easier when I say purposefully that it's a sacrifice. I'm making this sacrifice. I'm not hurting myself, but I'm making this trade of something that is bad for me for something which is way better, right? So the negatives are outweighed by the positives. And as a Christian, I really like to base my beliefs on the gospel. And so in John chapter 3, Jesus says you have to be born again, right? It's a little bit in a different context. But if you want to quit porn, and less in particular, porn is just pixels on the screen. The real problem is your mind that is driving you to watch porn. So you must be born again, right? And the reason why I buzzed my hair down was to essentially do that. It just felt like a new beginning for me. I do not recommend to do that. If you want, you can. But the most important thing is to look out for something in your life that is holding you back. All sorts of different things. Even music that uses vulgar lexicon. Video games, as for me. Social media. And that's the first skill that I felt is necessary to learn if you want to quit porn for good. Just being able, like learning how to, first of all, become aware of the things that are making your life worse. And secondly, being able to quickly cut it off without remorse. Giving up the things that made you sick, right? Let's move on to the skill number 2. And that skill is all about mindset. Now, it's not a quick fix for when you have an urge, but having a solid mindset is like the foundation that you build the house upon. If it's weak, the house will shake and it crumble. So what exactly do I mean about managing your negative thoughts or emotions? You see, a lot of people that I talk to and coach report having like negative beliefs, self-destructive beliefs, such as I'm not worthy, right? I'm weak. I will never beat this addiction. And what I usually do is I just quote this passage from the Bible. It's Romans chapter 8, verse 1. There is no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ. Now, for me at least, it means that those negative thoughts and emotions are not coming from God. He's not judging you. On the contrary, I know it may be hard to believe, but God loves us. But then, where do those thoughts come from if they don't come from God? Well, the source of those thoughts are very insidious. It's actually the devil who is giving you those thoughts. He senses that you're slipping away from his claws, so he uses his strongest weapon to keep you addicted. And the best way to keep you addicted is that you believe that you will forever be addicted, that you are undeserving, that you are not worthy, that you are a failure. Because then you'll have no motivation to do anything about it. If you truly believe that in your heart, and trust me, the devil knows how to convince people. He's been in this business forever. And so what you need to understand is that your thoughts are not you. And so the real enemy is not what these thoughts are about, but the thoughts themselves are your enemy. You got to learn, hence the skill, to reframe your mind and tell yourself that those thoughts that I'm feeling are not coming from God. On the contrary, they're keeping me addicted. They're keeping me weak. So you're not a fundamentally flawed person. A little bit confused, yes. But if you truly believe in Jesus Christ, you don't have to feel anything but gratitude and peace. And I'm talking about the skill number 3, which is exactly that. Peace. Yes, you heard that right. I think that finding peace, especially seeking God's peace, is a skill as well. This is something that I really wish everybody that watches me or that I help finds for themselves. It's very easy to get overwhelmed by the realities of the world. It takes a little bit of courage and the ability to stop yourself in the moment, to even attempt something like finding peace. Because people think that if they slow down, if they stop, we're going to somehow miss the opportunity, miss the big thing. But the point is that if you stop, you may stop yourself from going into the right direction, and you'll redirect your trajectory towards the right goal. So it's hard for me to tell you how exactly you should find and seek peace, but I can tell you from my experience what worked for me. The first thing that worked for me is finding my breath. I used to suffer from chronic anxiety for most of my life. One thing that helped me to keep it under control was finding my breath. You see, one thing that we can control about our physiology, about our body, is how we breathe. And breathing correctly, believe it or not, is actually a skill. Now let me tell you exactly how I practice this skill of breathing, which by extension leads to a more peaceful life. So what I do, I try to imagine a mountain. And the slope is not steep. There's like 5-10% incline going on that mountain. And so I imagine that my inhale is me going up that hill. And the longer I can go that hill, the better. Now, when I'm on top of that hill, I take a moment to realize what the scenery. I look as far as I can for a brief moment before going down. So when I'm sitting down, right, and doing this exercise of breathing, I'm literally just taking a deep breath, a deep, slow breath, and stopping for a moment before exhaling. And then, just as I went up the hill, I go down the hill. But what I noticed works very well if you're trying to feel that peace that you probably have never felt before, is actually imagining as if you were driving a car and suddenly the road disappeared underneath you and you started falling. And so that's a similar feeling of that visceral organs elevating is what I get when I do this exercise. And it's such an amazing calming feeling that you can get to if you practice this breathing technique. And alright, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you wanted free guidance and accountability, you can join the free community in the description down below.